What's up, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video, and in this one I want to break down what's happening with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvidia, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's happening with the overall market moving forward, as we had big data that just came out, not to mention new developments on the charts. But just notes that I am not a financial planner, so make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link. If you deposit $100, you're guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed 15 in total, not to mention 8.1% APY on uninvested cash. Anyways, as far as NIO goes, as of right now, we are still making higher highs and higher lows. And we have this resistance to watch for at this 5.65 area. Now, if we break this, we could be pushing all the way up towards the next resistance, taking us closer to $6. If we don't break this, we could be looking for a move back down. Now, whether or not we get that move depends on some data. So I want to talk about that first. So what happened today for the markets? Just notes that we had the CPI data report coming out. Everything was aligned with expectations, from core being at 3.2% year over year and 0.3% month over month. And then for all items, the CPI month over month was at 0.2% aligned with expectations. And all items CPI year over year, so relative to last year, we're at 2.5%. That is below expectations. Once again, not bad whatsoever. That's why the market saw some interesting price action. We actually pumped a little bit in the pre-market, then we saw a big dump, only to see that become a liquidity grab before they pumped us to new highs from the last couple of days. So that's what ended up happening to the markets. We ended up turning bullish ultimately, and the bulls had the bigger edge. Now, tomorrow is going to be Thursday, September 12th, 2024. Please note that 1 hour before the market opens, it's very important to note that we have the PPI data report coming out. We have PPI month over month, core PPI month over month as well, not to mention initial jobless claims before the market ends up opening, and then core PPI year over year. PPI is going to be very important for understanding wholesale inflation. This is what tends to dictate CPI. And we have very, very low expectations for it. So, considering the fact that core has been a little bit hot, I'm not as confident about this being decent, but we'll see. These data reports have been quite good so far. Everything's expected to be the same as what we got from before, except for PPI year over year. That's expected to come down a little bit. So I'm anticipating that it's going to be very similar and very close to expectations from that end, but we'll see if PPI year over year is below expectations. Besides that, there's not really much else that's coming out, at least for the markets, just PPI and then some bill auctions for tomorrow. For CPI, there's a big downtrend right now that's being reported. I know that the data is not as accurate as one may think. We can't always just say CPI is right. So the best thing for us to do is just to be very unbiased, and then to know that whatever happens is we have to just accept the data and report based off this, because that's what the market accepts. In terms of sentiment, the market is more fearful. As you guys can see, momentum is now, we're a little bit more fearful. We're getting closer to neutral though, but we're still in fear. So that gives the market more room for upside. Momentum is at neutral, kind of stuck in the middle. The put to call option ratio went up to extreme fear, and that says the market's trying to squeeze. So this might start coming down as shorts get closed to pump the markets higher. The VIX is testing the 50 daily moving average. We'll see if we lose the support around this, basically in the 17 area. So we'll see how that goes. For earnings, we have GameStop announcing earnings, just a few more retail, nothing too crazy for the rest of the week. And then for NIO, I just want to say that there's been a lot of talk about how NIO is working on their power swap stations, driving Europe's transition by integrating mobility and green energy. So we're going to be talking about this, their energy storage and things like that. There's going to be a very, very important discussion about this, so get ready for all of this. Can't wait to see what else they say as they expand across Europe. As excuse me, as far as their sales go, NIO had about 4,500 at least for the first week of September. Tesla did 16,200 with BYD at 73,600. But this is just Chinese EVs registrations in total. Remember, this is just for China. Tesla has more sales globally. But this is some big news. NIO is down just a little bit, but it's not that bad. This is just for week 36. Typically, during this period, when we start a new month, we do start off kind of weak before we see stronger sales later on. But we're going to be watching to see how things end up developing. For NIO, it's still okay, even though we did 4,500 for that first week of September, right? We tend to see stronger numbers towards the end of the month, so they will catch up later on. JP Morgan Chase is saying it's time to buy NIO. They're giving NIO an overweight rating. And then Citigroup also gave them a buy rating, where Bank of America Securities is neutral. We have 50 million in volume. That's a little bit below average, and the short volume is still going down. That's a good sign for NIO. So what do I see for NIO? Honestly, guys, we have a tough resistance to watch for at this 5.6 area. If NIO manages to break this zone, we could be pushing higher for closer to about 5.8 than $6. If we reject on 5.6, we could be dipping back down towards 5.33. So we'll see what the move ends up being. But overall, we're just stuck within this range. So I'll be watching this very, very carefully. If we lose 5.26, we're looking for a dip back down towards this imbalance. And if we break past 5.62, we could be looking for 5.8 and $6. Overall, the technicals look a little bit more bullish when you look at the bigger time frames, such as the daily charts. But we're testing a tough resistance at 5.6, and whether or not we break that depends on the reaction we get after PPI and if NIO could break this resistance. So look for 5.6 to be tested tomorrow. We look more bullish, but we need to break that for confirmation. If we do break that, we're going to remain more bullish. The technicals do look more bullish, but just for confirmation, we have to wait and see. Now, today was a crazy day for SPY. We saw SPY basically pump a little bit, then dump really hard, only to continue to pump. So going into tomorrow, we do look a little bit more bullish. If we could try to break past 556, we're looking for 558 and 560 to fill our imbalance above. And if we end up losing 553, we're looking for a dip back down to 550. From a technical standpoint, the daily on SPY is looking a little bit more bullish, and we're favoring the upside into the higher 550s. So we'll see if that ends up being the case or not. So watch for that very carefully. On top of this, we have ES looking a little bit more bullish. If we break the resistance up here, we have this resistance around 55.67. If that breaks, we're looking for 55.80, and eventually the 5600 area. If we end up losing 55.37, we're going to be dipping back down to 5500, but this favors upside from a technical standpoint. We'll see if the PPI report helps or not. For NVIDIA, we went up to about this 115 area. If we continue to hold above this, our next target is to be all the way up to about this almost 120 area, maybe a little below that. If we lose 115, we're looking for 114.6. So that feels us we're going down to 112. This looks a little bit more bullish on the daily, so it favors upside a bit more. We will see if the PPI report helps or not. For Bitcoin, we're trying to rebound. We're looking at resistance around this 58,000 area. If we break that, we're looking for 59,200. If we don't break this, we could be looking back down for 55,000. But this looks more bullish, at least technically speaking. For others out there, such as Tesla, Tesla's looking more bullish, got a nice bounce. It dipped a little bit all the way down to about 217 only to rebound, and we're continuing to push it for the last couple of days. To me, it looks like Tesla might be trying to fill this imbalance. If we break past 228 tomorrow, we're looking for 230, then 232 all over again. If you reject, we're going to be coming back down to 222. Technically speaking, we look more bullish, especially with PPI coming out, so Tesla's looking pretty darn good. For others out there, we have NQ looking bullish. If we break past 19,250, we're going to be looking for 19,500. For QQQ, if we manage to hold above 466, we're looking for a big pump for 474. So it still looks more bullish to me. So if we break 468, we're looking for 474. We look very, very bullish right now. Apple's doing a good job. If we break past 222.93, we're looking for 223.8, then the 226s. If we lose 222, we could be dipping back down to 220, but this looks more bullish to me. For the IWM, it looks more bullish. If we break past 209, there could be a big push coming to 210, then eventually 212. If we lose 208, we're going to be dipping back down to 206. But this looks more bullish in my personal opinion. For Coinbase, we look more bullish. If we're going to continue to push, we're going to be looking for a nice pump for this 158 area. If that breaks, we're looking for 162. And if we end up losing 153, we're going to be dipping back down. So this looks a little bit more bullish, and we could be pushing for 163. For Amazon, we're trying to pump right now. We did a good job at breaking past 182.5. So as long as we hold up of 182.5, I think we could continue to go up towards 187. We'll look at 185. If that breaks, we're looking for 187.5, then eventually 190. So we'll see if that ends up working. Meta looks a little bit more bullish. If we break past 512, we're looking for a big push for 520. If we lose 506, we're going to be dipping back down, but this looks more bullish to me for 520. Microsoft looks more bullish as we're trying to break out right here. We could be looking for basically 425 and eventually 430. If we end up losing 420, we could be dipping back down, but this still favors upside. And then Google has 153 as our resistance. If we break that, I think 155 is coming. So those are my technical updates for the markets. The market's looking very bullish. We look like we really want to keep pushing, but it depends on the PPI reports, of course. And for NIO, we could push with the market, but we have to break past 5.6. We have a tough resistance at our 200 EMA on the daily. If we break that, I think we're going to be going closer to $6. So watch and see if we can break 5.6 or not. If not, we could retrace to about 5.4. For now, I see potential in NIO, so we'll see how it goes. With that being said, I appreciate you guys so much for listening. Have a great day. I'll see you guys very soon for another updates tomorrow. Get ready for PPI before the market opens tomorrow, and peace out.